Hey, Steve Piper here. I'm an extremely average musician, but I love making music and I followed a simple process to go from having no songs and no fans and no customers and no sales to earning nearly $150,000 in music sales in the first 3 years of selling my music online. And that was without being able to tour a gig. In fact, because my other projects were really taking off and I spent most of my life on the road for my other career, most of my songs were written, recorded, edited, mixed, and mastered and marketed from hotel rooms. I didn't even have a band to play a live gig with at the time. I didn't really think much of it at the time, but later it became obvious that it was pretty unusual for someone to build up a big music income without ever playing live events. And it also didn't really register that musicians with a lot more skill than I had and a lot better songs were making a lot less money than I was, just because they had the wrong idea about how to connect with fans. By the time I had albums to sell, I already had a bit of experience in business. I started out in digital relationship businesses all the way back in 2003. The digital relationship business is just done primarily online instead of in person or in a brick and mortar store. And there are thousands of different kinds of digital relationship businesses. Today's music business is a perfect example of that kind of market. Now, I failed miserably at my first few attempts at starting a digital relationship business. And then I took a few online courses and I got some help and I started figuring things out. And then things really started falling into place for me. I realized that it's just not that hard once you know how to do it. Because of that earlier experience, I had a good idea how I was going to sell my music once my albums were ready. But I wanted to cover my bases, so I did some research into the record labels. I found a few boilerplate contracts from record label deals with artists. And at the time, you could still find examples of those contracts floating around online. I think the record companies have probably policed all of those up by now because it doesn't serve their interest for artists to really know the score. Anyway, I've seen dozens and dozens of different contracts over the years. Everything from a little service contract worth a couple $100 all the way up to $1 billion contract. I used to have to review these every year for the DoD. And these record company contracts absolutely blew me away. They were ridiculously unfair. I told myself someone would have to hold a gun to my head to get me to sign one of those things. And even then, I'd probably have to think twice. I mean, these were the most lopsided contracts I had ever seen. I couldn't believe anyone in their right mind would ever sign a contract like that. And then there were also the online exposés about artist earnings. And I ran across an accounting analysis that just made my jaw drop. And of every dollar in album sales, the average artist receives 2 pennies from their label. The royalty rate is supposed to be much higher than that, but the labels are really good at making their artists pay a bunch of hidden fees. And all the record labels' costs are taken out of the artist's tiny little share of the royalties. That's how bands like 30 Seconds to Mars can produce an album that goes platinum and still owe a ton of money to their label. It's absolutely nuts. So I wasn't willing to work for a 2% cut of my own damn songs. And not that a record label was beating down my door anyway. Like I mentioned, I wasn't playing out, I didn't even have a band, and I wasn't making videos either. So you're probably thinking, with no band and no gigs and no record deal and no fans and no videos, I had no chance. But if you remember, I already knew how to make a connection with fans and customers. In fact, my other businesses were blowing up in a good way at the time. I didn't really know it at the time, but I was already on my way to a very early retirement. So the thought really didn't occur to me that I wouldn't be able to sell my music. I mean, people sell millions and millions of dollars of online goods and services every single day. It's not that difficult once you know how to do it. And later on in the series, I'll give you the full blueprint that I used. You can steal that blueprint and you can use it to build your own music income from the ground up. So people always want to know about the money. I look back at my records and I put together a little quarterly income chart so you can see how things went during the early years. So here's my music business. You can see things started off really slowly, and that's totally normal. Every business I've ever been involved in starts this way. And this chart doesn't even show you all the time it took for me to record my first 2 albums and get them ready to release. And I actually finished my first 2 albums before I released the first one. And you'll see why a little bit later in the series. The next thing to notice is that the quarterly income varies a lot. This is also normal for a product-based business. I mean, you don't always have new music to sell. And sales of your existing albums and songs always tend to fluctuate up and down depending on what's going on. But look at the cumulative income. That's the big blue area. Just a couple of years with no touring and no gigging and no videos and nothing but email marketing, that number still got pretty serious. Some friends of mine told me I was just lucky. They said, dude, you won the lottery. But the truth is, this kind of thing isn't unusual at all. When you have a good product, you're making good music, and you know how to connect with fans and customers. And in this series, I'm going to tell you what I did to make all that happen. Also during that time, I was working on other businesses as well. They're the same kind of business as the music market. They're digital relationship businesses. And here's one of them. This one is my income as a novelist. Growing up, I always wanted to write spy novels. So one day I decided, hell with it, I'm gonna write spy novels. You can see the same kind of growth. It starts slow, and the growth isn't perfectly smooth, but the numbers really start to add up when you stick with it. And here's another business I was working on at the same time. It was also a digital relationship business, but this one happened to be in the corporate world. You can see the numbers are higher than in the other two businesses, but it has the same kind of characteristics. It started slowly, and the growth isn't perfectly smooth, but the quarterly income improves quite a lot. And of course, the cumulative numbers look really nice. And there's actually a fourth digital relationship business too. It's much bigger than the other three I showed you. I was really fortunate, and this one had an $800,000 year last year. But those numbers get pretty intimidating if you're just starting out. And anyway, you get the idea by now how these kinds of businesses work. They start slowly, and the growth curve is never really perfectly smooth, but they do grow steadily over time. And the trick is to stick with it and stay consistent and to not get discouraged. The fourth business really blew up in a good way, and it all got pretty crazy for me. And around that time, my wife and I had a son, and then we had a surprise daughter right after that, so our life got super busy, and I was just running myself ragged. And I had to make a really tough choice, and I gave up making music and writing novels for a while. But I really missed it. So I started writing and recording again as soon as I got some breathing room. So that's a look at how my income went. The next thing people always want to know about is the music. I made a lot of money selling it, so it must have been Grammy worthy, right? Well, you might be surprised. As I mentioned at the start, I'm a very average artist. I have nothing to write home about. But my songs came from the heart, and I think fans really do connect with that. Now, there's obviously no guarantee that you'll get the exact same results. I mean, you're a different musician than I am, first of all. And even if you do everything I did in terms of the business process, you still have to know how to really connect with your fans. Otherwise, it just isn't going to work. And also, as I go through this outline with you, I'm going to give you a lot of information, but it's probably going to become obvious that there's a lot more detail that we won't have time to cover in this free series. Just so you know up front, there is an opportunity at the end of all this for you to enroll in a course. The course goes through all the details that we don't have time to cover in this free series, and quite a bit more. So if you're one of those musicians who's really eager to learn how to sell your music, but the idea of buying a course that teaches you how to sell your own music is somehow offensive to you, this is your warning. But you're still invited to come along for the free video series. By the end of the series, you'll have the complete blueprint that you can steal and use to build up your own income, even if you don't decide to go deeper. And just so you know, this isn't one of those 30-second internet video things with no information. You're going to have to invest a bit of your time into watching the videos because we've put a lot of information here to help you out. But if you're like I was, and you're serious about building up your fan base, I think it'll be time well spent for you. And the whole point of this series is to help you realize that if an extremely average musician like me can put together a six-figure music business, then you can probably do the very same thing. And maybe even much more. Remember, it's not about perfection. It's all about steady progress and following the right plan. You don't have to fill up the Superdome with screaming fans in order to make a fantastic living as a full-time music artist. You don't have to become the most famous person on earth in order to make hundreds of thousands of dollars from your music. When you know how to make great music and you have an army of fans that just keeps growing every day, you never have to worry about your career. You just get to do what you love. And you get this amazing feeling inside every time you check your sales numbers. And your fans write to tell you how much they love your new music. And suddenly, your day job may become totally optional. It really is a night and day difference. And it's not some pie-in-the-sky dream. It's something that you can definitely create for yourself. You don't need anybody else's permission. You don't need to bow down to some record company. You just need to give yourself permission to go for it and then never look back. Okay, let's get into the music itself. I don't have any formal musical or audio education. Not that those are bad things, they're just very expensive. And they usually don't teach you what you need to know about making a connection with fans. But I did invest in online courses to help me with my musicianship and my production skills. And I wrote, recorded, edited, mixed, and marketed the music myself. I did hire a mastering engineer for my first 2 albums. I wasn't making music full-time, and I'm not a musical prodigy, so you'll hear a big learning curve. I mean, there's a big difference in the production quality and the songwriting and the performance between my first album and the music that I'm making today. I went back and I listened to a bunch of my old stuff when I was putting this video series together. It had been a while, and I was curious what I would think about it today, a few years later. Some of my old music is really bad. I never should have released some of those songs. And there are parts that are truly cringeworthy to me today. But it was the best I could do at the time. And it's important to know that as bad as I feel that some of my early songs are, people are still buying and downloading that music right now. But other songs, when I hear them today, I still feel like they're really good. I feel like they've stood up to the years pretty well. You know, my ears and my taste and my musicianship have gotten a lot better over the years, but a good number of my early songs still sound good to me. They still sound like they'd be right at home on the radio played next to today's hits. So you're going to hear a very average guy with average musical skills, but I poured my heart into making the best songs and records that I could make at the time. And that's how it is with everything I do. I give it everything I've got, I do the best I can, and I don't leave anything in the tank. The results aren't ever perfect, but it's important to know when you hear these songs that I wasn't trying to use clever marketing to push crap on people. These songs came from a very genuine place, and I always felt like I was pouring my heart and soul into them. And I think fans can sense that. If you're an accomplished musician and a producer, you'll probably laugh at how amateur my production skills were, especially back in the day. But these songs were downloaded and streamed by thousands and thousands of people. I mean, it's a good reminder that not everybody who hears your music is going to be a sophisticated musician. In fact, most people who hear your music just want to make a connection with it. They just want to bob their heads to the beat, and they want to sing along with you. And most people won't even notice all the little mistakes that absolutely drive you crazy as musicians and perfectionists. And one more quick point. Most of this music fits pretty well into the alt-rock genre, and that's pretty key. You can make the world's most perfect album, perfectly written, perfectly performed, and perfectly produced and mixed and mastered, but if the style of music doesn't have a decent sized following, it's going to be very hard to get anywhere. Okay, here we go. This is my first music project. It's called Chairman's Zeitgeist. I've left a lot of the old school stuff up on the web, so you can see it exactly as it was when I first started out. If you click around on the website, you'll see that some of the retailers that I link to aren't even in business anymore. The other thing that's unfortunately gone right now is the most important part of the business. It's called a landing page or an opt-in page. It was hosted online by another service that I no longer use, and I didn't make a copy of the page before I closed my account with them. I obviously wish I had kept all that stuff together so I could show you exactly what I used back when I started my music project. But don't worry, landing pages are bread and butter in digital relationship businesses, and I will talk a lot more about them. I promise you'll get a great understanding of how they work and how you will want to use them to market your music to fans. So here's the album art. A few of the covers are photos of custom paintings. They look a little bit dated to me right now, but a couple of years ago, that's how a lot of alt-rock covers looked. So they mostly fit right in with the genre. So I'm going to play you some song excerpts so you can get a feel for what this music is like. This kind of music might not be your cup of tea, but just listen for songwriting and production quality. Again, some of it's pretty good, and some of it, well, not so much.
Nothing personal. I just don't like you. May your days and your time and your ways and your mind be your own. Are the thing between us the reason pain receives us with open arms? Are you just here to watch me burn? So watch me burn. It's all on me. It's all on me.
Okay, I hope you take a few things away from what I've shown you so far. First, your music doesn't have to be perfect before you can start building an audience. Now, I'm not telling you to disrespect your fans and sell yourself short by throwing half-assed music out there. I spent a long time working on these songs. I mean, they're as good as I could make them at the time. I knew they weren't perfect, but I also knew I couldn't make them any better at my current skill level. And the big thing is that they all came from a very genuine place. And again, I think that music fans definitely have an ear for that. Second, I hope you took away that in digital relationship businesses, and again, that's exactly what today's music business is, things start slowly. You have to be consistent and stick with it before things really start to roll in. And I'll show you the income graphs again just to drive that point home. This isn't like working a 9 to 5 where the paycheck just shows up every other Friday. It takes some time to build up momentum. And the third thing I hope you take away from this video is that you don't have to be some kind of a musical prodigy in order to build a fan base. You can click around on all of my music online and you'll definitely see a growth curve. My skills improved dramatically between my first and my fourth albums. And the album I'm recording right now is continuing in that trend. My early stuff isn't heinous. Well, some of it's heinous. I mean, there are definitely bad songs that never should have seen the light of day. I'm a lot better today, just like your fourth album and your fifth album will be better than your first one. But the music was good enough to start building a fan base. Fans do want high quality music, but the truth is that most listeners won't even notice most of the errors that you and I notice and drive us crazy. It's worth noting here that a lot of grizzled old musicians believe that you either have talent or you don't, and there's nothing you can do to improve your skill. But that's complete BS. It's totally ridiculous. You can hear it in the music that I made. Each album is better than the last one. And those people have just been playing for so long, they forgot what it was like when they were first learning. I mean, they act like the first time they ever picked up a guitar, they shredded some crazy solo or something. But life doesn't work that way. We humans are really good at improving our skills. Just pour your heart into your music and your musicianship, and your skills will get better. I promise. It's all about steady progress, and it's not about perfection. And if you're here, I'm assuming it's because you've been making music for a while and you're ready to start selling your music to fans. Or maybe you've been trying to sell your music and grow your fan base for a while now, but you haven't really found the success that you've been looking for. I'm also assuming that you care about maintaining your artistic integrity, but you also want people to buy your music. And maybe you want a lot of people to buy your music. There's nothing wrong with that. And then it's hugely important to figure out how to truly connect with people. Because there are millions and millions of songs available for sale today. Nobody will ever find your music online unless you give them a reason to. Most musicians take the Field of Dreams approach. It's an old movie. The famous line from the movie is, "If you build it, they will come." And most people think that the work stops once the album is finished. But that's not how life really works. When you finish your album, your work is just beginning. You can create the best album in human history, but if you don't know how to connect with fans, and if you don't put the work in to market your music, nobody on earth will ever even find your songs. That's just a fact of life. Most people just throw their new album up on all the retailers and they pray that someone comes along and buys a song or two. If you've tried this, you don't need me to tell you that it's no way to build a career. So today's about how to make a connection with fans and customers. Now, we recently ran a music marketing quiz online. Maybe you took the quiz. The results were really interesting. Only one musician out of every 27 who took the test actually got a passing score. And there was an extremely important question on that quiz that we need to go over because it's going to point us in the right direction if we want to sell our music to fans and customers. Here we go. The most important part of selling your music today is what? Is it A, putting your music up for sale in every online music store? Is it B, building an email list? Is it C, sending your demos to industry contacts? Is it D, joining a performance rights organization like ASCAP or BMI? Or E, is it placing links to your SoundCloud page on online forums? Now, thousands of people have taken this quiz, and only a handful have gotten the answer correct. So what's the most important part of selling your music? Let's quickly go through these answers one by one. I think you'll be really surprised. So putting your music up for sale on all the retailers, is this important? Maybe. But for most musicians, it makes no difference at all. There are millions and millions of songs for sale right now. There's more music for sale right at this moment than in all of human history combined. You can put your songs up for sale on all 150 plus music retailers in the world today, but nobody is ever going to find your songs unless you have a marketing strategy that works. Without a strategy for getting people excited to buy your music, your songs are just going to get lost among the millions of other songs available today. And by the way, it's the same thing in the book business. There are over 5 million novels for sale online right now. So how does anyone ever become a bestseller? Ever. Much less before lunch. Again, it's not magic. It's all about the right marketing strategy. And putting your stuff up for sale online is necessary, but it's definitely not enough. So let's look at another common wrong answer: sending your demos to music industry contacts. This is a recipe for frustration and failure. First of all, the music giants are hurting. They're not in a position to take a chance on an unknown artist with a half-decent demo. You're not going to get signed to a music deal unless you already have a following. It's just that simple. And even if you did get signed, the reality is that it would still be up to you to promote your music. Nobody is going to do that for you. So don't waste your time spamming industry contacts. The truth is that they have nothing to offer you that you can't create for yourself. In fact, over the last century, nobody has stolen more money from artists than their own record labels. So it's best to forget about the music labels altogether. Here's another common misconception. Many musicians think that the most important part of marketing their music is to join a performing rights organization, like ASCAP or BMI or CSAC, or others. The reality is that these organizations have absolutely nothing to do with music marketing. Here's how they really work. If you do a good job marketing your own music, and your songs get exposure and placements on TV, film, radio, movies, video games, and the like, then ASCAP or BMI or CSAC will help you collect your royalties. But until that happens, the performing rights organizations aren't going to help you with your career even a little bit. The next answer is also wrong. Placing links to your SoundCloud page on online forums to drive traffic to your songs. We've all been to these kinds of forums, and we've all seen the link spam. Maybe once in a blue moon, somebody will click on the link, and it usually goes to music that sounds very amateur. Now, this tactic is basically the same thing as begging people to listen to your music. It's the wrong attitude to take if you want to build a music career, and it just doesn't work. So if you've been keeping track, that leaves only one answer to the question about the most important part of marketing your music in today's world. And it's an extremely surprising answer. Most musicians refuse to believe it. And maybe that's why most people right now don't make any money with their music. But here it is. The most important part of selling your music in today's market is building an email list of enthusiastic fans and customers. Hands down. Email is the king of digital marketing. It's been the king of digital marketing for 20 years. And even in the era of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and all the other social media platforms out there today, email is still the king. If you don't have an email list, you don't have a business. It's just that simple. Now, if you're like most musicians, you're probably really surprised right now. And maybe you're confused too. You're probably asking, what does email have to do with selling music? The big clue is in the relationship part of the term digital relationship business. And don't worry, you're not going to have to turn into some kind of slimy salesman. You're going to learn how to market your music in a way that will make your family proud. Now, most people think that social media is the way to market things. The social media companies have certainly been trying to figure out how to get email out of the picture, but it just hasn't worked that way. Email is still the king when it comes to marketing. The truth is that social media is great for nurturing relationships with fans, but it's absolutely terrible when it comes to generating sales. And that goes for every social media company, including the current king, Facebook. Email marketing generates 20 times more sales than social media. 20 times. And the social media companies change their policies all the time. In fact, Facebook just changed their policies again very recently in a way that hurts business owners who are trying to use Facebook to drive sales. You can certainly use social media if you want to, but you definitely cannot rely on any of the social media companies for your business growth. It's a recipe for disaster. I mean, remember MySpace? Now remember what I said last time. If you don't have an email list, you don't have a business. But the details do matter. I mean, once you have a list, how do you invite people to join it? And once they join your list, what do you say to them? Well, here's what you don't do. You don't just hammer them with sales pitches left and right. Here, buy my music. Here, buy my new album. Here, buy my new t-shirt. I'm sure you've been on somebody's list who did that to you. I mean, how did you feel about them? Did you like receiving their emails, or did you stop opening them altogether? Contrast that with the kind of feedback I get from fans and customers on my lists. They actually write back to me. They tell me how much they enjoy getting my messages. They tell me things about their personal lives. They tell me how much they enjoy my music and my books. They thank me for making them laugh on a bad day at work. And they write to tell me that my message brightened their day after a loved one passed away. I mean, these people are much more than just customers. They join my list as complete strangers, and I've never met most of them in person. But many of them have become my friends. Some of them have been with me for years and years. And it goes without saying that they're my best customers too. They buy everything I put out. Now, that probably sounds like magic fairy dust, right? I mean, who enjoys getting marketing emails, right? Well, let's look back at the category of business we're in. The music business is a digital relationship business. And the most important word is relationship. If you want a long and successful career as a musician, you need to build real relationships with real people. That's your secret weapon. That's why people will pay attention to your music, even though there are millions and millions of other songs out there competing for their attention. They will support you because they like you. So, how do you build a real, genuine, non-corporate human relationship with fans and customers? It's really very simple. Be yourself. Be honest. Be genuine. Don't pretend to be something you're not. Let them see you as you really are, flaws and everything. People are interested in people. That's why reality TV is still so popular. It's been around for 20 years? With no signs of slowing down? People just love to learn about other people. And I know it can be really frightening to think about sharing yourself with strangers. It was completely uncomfortable for me too. I used to think, who in the world would want to get an email from me? Don't we all get too much email already? Well, we definitely get way too much crap email. But the real problem is that we get too little email that really interests and engages us. And believe me, when I get email from people who I like and admire, I open it right away. And my guess is that you probably do too. When you do this stuff right, that's how your fans will feel about you. And here's my other secret for creating amazing relationships with my fans and my customers. I tell them stories. True stories. I tell them about things that happen in my life and career. I tell them stories about things that happen with my friends and my family. Human beings are wired to love stories. Stories are actually how we pass down information from generation to generation before we learn to make paper and write things down. Stories are absolutely essential to our species, and we absolutely love to hear stories. And your fans will love to hear stories about you and your music and your band and your life. Sure, there's an art and a science to storytelling. It's a major topic in our 6-figure musician training program. But once you figure out how to do it, you'll be amazed at how fun and easy it is to tell a great story. And you'll also be amazed at how well people respond to you when you tell them genuine, real stories that come from your life and come from your heart. Okay, so hopefully you're getting the idea that marketing your music and building a successful career as an artist is something that you can definitely do. So what's the point of all of this? This material is all about giving you control over your career. You won't wonder whether the music you're making is good enough. You won't wonder if you're making music that people will buy. You won't wonder where and how to find fans. And you won't wonder how to get people excited to buy your music. You won't have to bow down to a music company and beg for table scraps. You'll learn how to build your own army of fans. And you'll learn how to launch all of your new music to thousands of customers who are ready to pay you. In other words, you'll be in the driver's seat. And it's important to control your own destiny, because if you don't, somebody else will. And we're not in the business of wishful thinking. Successful people create their own opportunities. Successful people don't throw away their dignity by sucking up to power. Successful people don't grovel for a chance or a shot. Hope is not a course of action. So what we're going to do is put in place a foolproof strategy. And wouldn't it be great if you never had to rely on someone else to grow your fan base for you? Wouldn't it be great if music supervisors already knew your name? Wouldn't it be great if you could negotiate any kind of licensing agreement that you want from a position of power and not a position of need? And wouldn't it be great if deals started coming to you instead of you having to go try to chase down deals? That's exactly what you're going to do. Everything gets easier because success breeds success. It really does work that way. And here's how. Your fan base, first of all, your fan base pays you. And second, when you have a fan base, new opportunities find you, not the other way around. And you make money while you maintain your integrity and your dignity. So our foolproof strategy is that we're going to grow an army of fans. And to do that, remember that only two things matter. The first is to create undeniable music, and the second is to create meaningful relationships with fans. And here's why those relationships with your fans matter. Where you sell your music suddenly makes no difference at all. Your fans will buy from you wherever you sell. You won't be relying on anyone else to put your music in front of listeners. And with a strong fan relationship, you don't need any other services to sell your music for you. With a fan base, you are in the driver's seat. So you might be asking, okay, why share this information? Well, I'm a hopeless idealist, and I think the world needs your music. Music brings us together. It reminds us of our shared humanity. It reminds us of all that's good about being human, and we need more of it in the world, and we need your music in the world. So this video is all about the six-figure music blueprint. Before we dive in, there's a lot of detail here, but we have to move quickly. Otherwise we won't be able to fit it all in. You'll have the complete outline by the end. Be sure to download the slides onto PDF. The big picture is actually very simple, but simple is not the same thing as fast or easy, so just keep that in mind as we move through this. Hey, who's this for? Any genre with a reasonable audience, i.e. kazoo music. No offense if that's your thing, but it's probably a really small genre. It'll be hard to be successful. If you have original music, if you do cover music, if you're a DJ, if you have an existing catalog of music, or if you're just starting out, you can use this blueprint. And you might be asking, you started this a couple of years ago, does it still apply right now? And the answer is yes, better than ever. There are more and better tools now to make more and better music, to make more and better connections with fans. And in my opinion, there's never been a better time to be a musician. How much time is it going to take? It's a great question. There is an upfront time investment to set this stuff up, and there's some ongoing upkeep, but mostly it works in the background while you make more music. So here's the big picture. If you want to build a six-figure indie music career, it starts with great songs. So that starts with great songwriting, a terrific performance, a great recording of that terrific performance and that terrific song, produced well and distributed well. Most musicians stop here, but it's not even halfway. You still have to make a real and lasting connections with fans, and that's where most musicians are falling way short. You got to have access to those fans, so you can't be relying on Facebook for you to connect to your fans. Your performance is also a way to connect with them. Your message has to be on, and it has to be a two-way conversation. It can't just be you blaring at your fans. They need to be also communicating with you. And then when you have new stuff to sell, launches and sales is how you do it. So it starts with the songs. They have to be genre appropriate in terms of the tempo, the vibe, the instrumentation, the lyrical content, the mood, the vocal style, the harmony, the melody, the emotion, the production value, the energy, the mix, and the master. So that's a lot, and it does need to be genre appropriate. And your songs need to have a great performance. So the right energy, pretty close to perfect on the pitch. Not perfect, you heard my stuff, right? But pretty close. Good on the timing. Again, my stuff's not perfect, but it was as good as I could make it. And then really it's about energy and emotion. Those are the two biggest contributors. And a great recording is just one that doesn't get in the way of the music. It's pretty much noise free. Solid production is important too. So genre appropriate, it needs to be well edited. It needs to not be over edited. The effects you use need to be tasteful. It's easy to overdo it. It does need to be mixed and mastered well. So the proper volume levels, using the stereo field well, using good equalization, compression appropriate for your genre, and delay and reverb that are also appropriate for your genre. Again, it's easy to overdo. And then how loud the music is also a function of the style of music that you're playing. There are two main ingredients to writing songs and producing them well. The first is your skill, both your musicianship and your engineering skill, whether you're doing the engineering or you're hiring it out. And the second is your taste, in other words, your ear. And both of these improve with time and practice. Anybody who tells you otherwise is full of BS. They both do improve with time and practice. So the 3 steps: you got to identify your genre, you got to analyze your genre, and then create music that truly fits your genre, but with some innovation too. And yes, it is as hard as it sounds. It's hard creative work. That's why it takes time and practice. So it's not always as straightforward as it sounds to know what genre you're in. So for example, say you're in a metal band, but are you in a new metal band or a funk metal band or alt metal or heavy metal or death metal or speed metal or glam metal? And you get the idea. And you might be saying genres are an arbitrary and evil record company plot, and that might be true, I don't know. But they do serve a purpose for listeners. For example, if I want new workout music, I never search for new age piano or spa music. Nothing against those two, but not for a workout. So the bottom line is you can love genres or hate them, but you can't ignore them if you want to make any money with your music. And you might be saying, but what about my artistic integrity? Won't I be selling out if I create music that's genre appropriate? And the answer is, if you want to sell big, the way to do it is to meet the expectations of your genre in a spectacular and unexpected way. But selling out, on the other hand, is trying to cash in by sounding like somebody else. And I don't know that this ever really works. Okay, those are the basic considerations when you're aiming to make great music that you love and that fans in your genre will also love. And most musicians think that's all there is to making an income with your music. But that's a huge mistake. In my view, that one mistake is why so many musicians are missing out on thousands and thousands of dollars in income every single month. Remember, there are millions and millions of great songs out there that nobody has ever heard or heard about. So we need to talk about how to find and keep fans and customers. And that means we have to talk a little bit about the business of music. All right, distribution. You've made great music, it's genre appropriate. Now what? Well, there are over 150 music retailers worldwide. You know the big ones that dominate the market: iTunes, Amazon, Google. Streaming services are also retailers like Spotify, Apple Music, and Pandora. Because there's so many retailers, that there are third-party companies who will submit your music for a fee to all these different retailers. And this is probably nothing you don't already know. Those companies do charge a fee. CD Baby and TuneCore are a couple of examples. There are more. Terms vary widely. Some people charge a royalty percentage, some have exclusivity clauses. So buyer beware, but overall this is a worthwhile service. Now, distribution used to be really expensive, back in the days of vinyl or 8-tracks or cassettes or CDs, but now it's extremely cheap. It's almost trivial. Anybody can distribute their music worldwide by sitting in their bedroom and clicking a mouse a few times. So there's no distribution barrier anymore to music. So what you need to understand is that distribution is not marketing. Distributing your music online without doing any marketing is a guaranteed route to failure. There are millions and millions of songs for purchase online. If you don't do effective marketing, nobody will ever find your music. I guarantee it. Distribute and pray is not a strategy that works. And about 1 billion people have said this, but it's no less true. Hope is not a course of action. So we're all about a course of action that's going to be successful. Which means we need to talk about the dirty word, which is marketing. Remember, social media marketing is a waste of your time and your money. It's 20 times worse at driving sales than email. You don't control your access to your fans, and the social media companies can cut you off without any warning whatsoever. If you don't have an email list, you don't have a business. If you don't have an email list, you don't have a business. It's that simple. So here's the roadmap. We're going to use that great music that you created. We're going to use that as an asset to attract fans to your email list. Once they're on your list, you're going to make your fans feel like part of your community, like they're part of something bigger than themselves. And then you're going to use your great music skills to create another asset, and you're going to sell that asset to fans. So the way you'll do it is you'll make fans feel excited about your product, and then you'll give them a way for fans to buy. And that's it. That's the roadmap. It's really simple. Now, all of your outreach efforts with fans have the same goal, and only one goal. It's not your Facebook page or your Twitter or your homepage. It is to invite people to join your email list. That is it. So here's how that works. Go where the fans are, and I imagine you're a fan of your genre. If not, what are you doing? So you know where the fans are. You know what the norms are, but maybe just be conscious about observing and learning how fans interact and behave. Find a way to contribute meaningfully, i.e., make awesome music that's appropriate for the genre. Attract some people to your landing page. Offer something of value in return for an email address. And then turn strangers into friends and fans once they're on your email address or email list. Okay, you have to do something. It's extremely important. You have to do it. But I guarantee you don't want to do it. Nobody wants to do it at first, but you have to trust the millions of successful entrepreneurs and thousands of different businesses who already know that you must give something away to attract new email subscribers. You just have to do it. I know that sounds heinous and terrible, but you have to do it. What should I offer in exchange for their email address? Something valuable, something you poured your heart and soul into creating, the best songs and videos you've ever created, the content you're proudest of. Yes, the absolute best that you have. It has to be something that they can only get, or that they can only get for free by signing up. This is the key. There has to be exclusivity. So here's what it looks like from your customer's perspective or your fan's perspective. Maybe you're playing live and they like what they see and you made a connection in your live performance and you invited them to download your best album for free. Here, follow the address on this business card, and you hand that to them. And maybe they go there to your landing site. Or maybe they click on an advertisement that you're running, or maybe they click on a link in a music video, or maybe they read a blog post if you're blogging about your music. Anyway, potential subscribers arrive on your opt-in page. Some of them will become new subscribers. Once that happens, you'll confirm their subscription, and you will deliver the free gift that you promised them. And then they'll receive the welcome email sequence. So the key to the whole thing is your opt-in page, or your landing page is also called. Opt-in or landing page, same thing. It has to be clean, it has to be professional, it has to be genre appropriate. There can only be one choice for the users to make. They can either opt into your email list and get your awesome giveaway, or they can leave the page and do something else. There are no other links. Deadly mistakes is if your page is amateur looking, looks like you didn't put any time or effort into it. If it's overhyped or spammy, if there's other links to wander around in and get lost in, that'll crush you. Here's what it looks like for your new subscribers. They sign up to your list. A confirmation email is sent automatically to your new subscriber. They click on the confirmation link that says, yes, I do want to be here. An email is sent immediately that contains a link to download the giveaway, the freebie that you're giving to them. Another day later, you'll send another welcome email. This is welcoming them to your world. Hey, welcome to the party, man. This is how we hang here, and that's what you're doing. You're just giving them a sense for how you roll. Being genuine and being open with them. 2 days later, another email, and then one day later, you give them a special offer, something that's really exclusive, something that's really valuable. Again, it's your second best content, and you're giving it to them in a way that is a really compelling offer. And a percentage of these people will buy. They will. And this happens automatically in the background. So it takes some web tools to do this. There is some tech involved, but it's not hard. If you have the patience to be a musician, you have the patience to put these tools together. And then once they're set up, it basically works for you forever. There is some maintenance and upkeep, but not much. And there are fantastic all-in-one services that can help make this painless. Remember, millions of people and millions of songs are available for download on the internet. What makes the difference for you is the strength of the relationships you build with your fans and customers. The only way to do that well is to be yourself, to review yourself as a real human, flaws and all, and take your time. And then just invite your fans to participate in your journey. And also remember, people are interested in other people. They are. They will be interested in you. I know it's hard to believe, but they will be. And they're not interested in some fake, made-up version of you, but the real you, especially if you do something amazing like create awesome music. Okay, before we move on, learning to connect with your fans in your genre does take some time. It's art and science. There's a lot that goes into it. Psychology, sociology, sales, the art and science of storytelling. So there are some details to master here, but it's the most important thing you'll learn how to do as you grow your business. 2 quick points are good to keep in mind here. The first thing is that you shouldn't worry if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed right now. Yes, there are some details to get right, but the concept is simple. You're just going to find fans in your genre and build a relationship with them. But the second point is actually a bit of a warning. It's really tempting after you see an outline like this one to try to just reverse engineer all the details. That's what I tried to do early on in my career, and it's what led me to fail at the first 3 times I tried to build an income for myself. And here's the thing that I didn't realize when I first started out. It's not just about doing the right things. It's all about doing the right things right. Now, that may be a subtle difference, but it makes all the difference. So in other words, the details really do matter. and it's hard to be successful just by trying to reverse engineer the process. So that's why we built the 6-figure musician training course that you'll have an opportunity to enroll in here pretty soon. If you're feeling like you want to get serious about making an income from your music, and you don't want to waste a bunch of time and money by making a bunch of avoidable mistakes, then the course might be something that's worth considering for you. For now, I want to focus on the 2 most effective marketing techniques I know of to grow your fan base and get your fans excited about buying your music and your merchandise. The 2 most effective marketing techniques are live performance and using a launch sequence. So we'll go through both of those. Live performance, you can't be background noise. You just can't be background noise. If you're not the main attraction, you're wasting your time. There are fewer and fewer places to play today, public venues. The labels are in bed with Clear Channel. Clear Channel owns Live Nation. Live Nation is buying up venues and raising venue prices. So there is a better way. The average bar gig pays about $200, depending on where you're at. Wouldn't it be great to double or quintuple that amount? Plus merchandise sales, plus email signups. So this is not my area of expertise. As I mentioned earlier on, I was running myself ragged, running these other businesses on the road all the time. I did all my stuff in hotel rooms, and I never had a chance to put a band together and play live. So we have an expert. He's an original UK pirate radio DJ, broadcasting off the coast, pirate radio, which is an awesome story. And then a terrestrial radio DJ after the pirate radio gig. He's a producer, he's an artist manager, he's a tour manager, and he speaks at indie music conferences everywhere. In fact, you probably, if you've been to a conference recently, you probably heard him speak. His name is Paul K. Saunders. And he has a much better way to perform live that his artists are using with fantastic effect. It's called the fan-powered touring model. You perform in listeners' homes. You perform your music in listeners' homes. It's really easy for singers and songwriters. For bands, think MTV Unplugged. In other words, do an acoustic set. This may sound crazy, but here's why it works. You're the main event. Listeners feel 100 times more connection with you in this kind of a setting than in a noisy bar or restaurant. You'll earn 2 to 5 times as much for each performance, plus merch and album sales. And the most important thing is you'll collect tons of email addresses. You'll earn new fans who will invite you to play in their home. And once you made a strong connection with people with an intimate home concert, many of them will opt in to your email list, and you'll hand them a business card with that link for your free download. Get my best album for free by joining my email list. They'll open your messages when you email them. They'll buy your new album when you launch it. They'll schedule you to perform in their homes. They'll invite their friends to see you in their homes. They'll become personally invested in your career and with your music. Now, I imagine that because this is new, a lot of folks are skeptical about it, but try it. Here's what you can expect. More money, more fans, more subscribers. And if you're a band, what you can do is use in-home unplugged performances to build your money and grow your fan base for your main show. Okay, but you do have to be on your game. You can't just practice your music. You got to rehearse your performance, and those are different things. You're an entertainer, not merely a musician, so you got to be entertaining. And it is all about making a real connection with fans. Also, people won't join your list. They don't have ESP. They can't read your mind, so you just got to ask them to. And you'll hand out cards with a link to your giveaway, and the link goes to, all together now, your landing page, and mention it during your show. Also, tell them they're welcome to share it with their friends. Okay, so that's the live performance, as taught by one of the world's leading experts on the subject. And now, let's talk about the second thing, using a launch sequence. What most musicians do when they finish a new album is they just toss it up on CD Baby or TuneCore, and they pray for a miracle, and they get angry and bitter and discouraged when nothing happens. What you should do instead is you should launch to your list. The launch is just a process, and it works in every digital relationship market, especially music. It's the process I use to launch every new product that I created in every business that I owned, and I still use it today. I learned it from a true genius in the field and a really great dude. His name is Jeff Walker. I don't know if you've heard of him or not. Here are the details. Launching products is all about telling stories. Stories connect us. We're wired for story. It may sound funny or silly, but it definitely works. Billions of dollars every day. So what you're going to want to do is tell 3 stories during your launch. And here is the launch process. The first is, as you're regularly corresponding with your list, you'll just casually mention that you've got something very special on the way. Then you'll tell them the first story of your album's creation. Let's say you're releasing an album. And at the end of that story, you'll foreshadow an even more interesting story, which you'll tell them in a couple of days later. A great way to do this is by video. Video is a great way to build a strong connection. You'll tell the second story, and then you'll foreshadow the even more interesting story number 3. At the end of that story, you will foreshadow that your new product is about ready to be released into the world. Then a couple days later, you'll describe your freaking outrageous offer. Very exclusive, very valuable, available only to the people on your list, and you'll send them to buy. You'll send them a warning that the offer will expire very soon, and then the last step is to end the offer. And yes, you do need a deadline. Something bad has to happen after that deadline. The offer has to go away, the discount ends, you run out of merchandise, the VIP bonuses go away. And everybody always asks, won't I make more sales if I don't end the offer? But the answer is absolutely not. Your offer has to have scarcity. If it's available forever, I will never buy it. You are probably the same way. This is how most humans operate. But if you offer me a great deal with a looming deadline, I will take action. And so will your fans. That's just the way humans behave. Okay, that's the blueprint. There are some gotchas. The first is you might be saying, hey, I tried something like this before, it didn't work. Yeah, me too, 3 times. And then I took the time to learn how to do it right, and it worked. So well, in fact, that I don't work anymore. And you might be saying, hey, why should I believe some guy that I've never heard of? Which is making my point for me. Exactly. I'm not Taylor Swift. I'm not Ed Sheeran. You probably never have heard of me. Music never even became my day job, but I did build a 6-figure music income. And you probably can too. Just because you're not filling up Mile High Stadium full of people doesn't mean that you're not able to build a 6-figure music income. And here's another common misconception. Nobody buys music anymore because they can just stream it for free. Well, it's true that people do stream music for free, but they definitely still buy music too. In fact, last year, indie musicians had over $6 billion in music sales. And here's the most important thing. When you make a real connection with fans, they're more than happy to buy from you. All right, you might be saying it can't be done without the help of a record label. Remember though, 30 Seconds to Mars, those guys had a platinum record and an awesome tour. And at the end of it, their label congratulated them by handing them a $2 million bill. I mean, holy cow, with friends like that, who needs an enemy, right? And here's a big one. You might be saying, I'm not talented enough to build a successful career, but talent is a bogus concept. There's only skill. We're amazing at improving our skills. You've heard my music, Good, Bad, and Ugly. It started off bad and ugly mostly, but guess what? It got a whole lot better over time, and because it came from my heart, it didn't need to be perfect. And it definitely has to come from your heart. Just keep improving and get help when you need it. Fans will connect with it. The music market is saturated with artists. Yes, there are millions of songs available for download, but here's the thing. 99.9% of indie musicians are doing absolutely nothing to build an audience of fans and customers. So if you care enough to put a little bit of effort in, you'll be in the top 0.1%. I'm serious, top 0.1%. And if your music and performance are great, then the sky's the limit. You might be saying, hey, this is going to take a long time. Yes, it probably will, but probably not as long as you might think. And you're going to be doing something for the next few years anyway, right? I mean, why not build an amazing music career? And you will see small results very quickly, and small results will grow into big results. And here you go, small results, better results, small result. But look at that blue line. Look at all the area under the curve. All that area under the curve is cumulative income. And that was with no touring and no gigging and no videos. So imagine what you can do when you put this stuff to work and you don't have 2 hands tied behind your back. You might be saying this won't work in my genre, and that might be true. If your genre is tiny, then it will be hard. But on a planet full of 7 billion people, if you're in a reasonably sized genre, you'll be able to use the fundamentals to build a solid career. A lot of folks also say, hey, I don't have time to take a course. You're probably right. But if a music career is important to you at all, you don't have time to waste by spending years doing the wrong things. And the time investment just isn't that big. It's not even 1 semester of one super easy junior college class. It's not that hard. And you might be saying, hey, your situation was different than mine. Yes, it was, absolutely. But remember, I didn't tour, gig, or make videos. I basically had both hands tied behind my back, and the tools sucked back then. Now the tools are awesome. So if this is something you want, the bottom line is you'll find a way to do it. So you've seen the blueprint. There's a lot of detail to think through. So we built the 6-figure musician training program to fill in the details for you. The course is not inexpensive. It's less money than a new instrument or plug-in bundle, though. I pretty much guarantee it, unless you're like a kazoo player. No offense, but kazoos aren't that expensive. And it will give you the tools to build a lucrative and enjoyable career making music. So we think it's one of the best bargains available in the music world today. And when I was building my businesses before I retired, I knew it was important to keep my mind right. And so I found a lot of inspiration. And this is one of the quotes that I used to find that inspiration frequently. It says, "Go confidently in the direction of your dreams and live the life you've imagined." You probably heard it. But I modified it. I knew you couldn't just live the life you imagined. You had to go create the life you've imagined. And the life that I imagined had a lot less of this, and a lot less of this, and a lot less of this dude. If you've ever seen Office Space, you'll recognize the picture. A lot more of this, and obviously I wanted a lot more of that in my life. And so things started coming together for me when I began asking myself big questions like, what motivates you? Is it leaving the 9-to-5 behind? Is it making a difference with your music? Is it making a living doing what you love most? Is it controlling your own destiny? And now that you've seen how to do this and how it all works, the question that we all have to answer for ourselves, and this is a question that I had taped to my computer monitor for many, many years. It's this: do you believe in yourself? I've showed you how I started with no songs and no fans and no customers and no sales, and built up a 6-figure income as a music artist. It's the same blueprint that I used to make enough income that my wife and I were able to retire in our early 40s. And it's the same kind of blueprint that millions of people in thousands of different markets are using right now to create an amazing life for themselves. And the whole point of this series is to help you realize that if an extremely average musician like me can put together a 6-figure music business, then you can probably do the very same thing. And maybe even much more. Remember, it's not about perfection. It's all about steady progress and following the right plan. You don't have to fill up the Superdome with screaming fans in order to make a fantastic living as a full-time music artist. You don't have to become the most famous person on earth in order to make hundreds of thousands of dollars from your music. And once you know how to do this stuff, your life as a musician gets a whole lot easier. When you write a song, you won't have to wonder whether anybody will like it. You'll know that you're writing music that the majority of fans in your audience will love. And when you put the finishing touches on your new EP or your new album or your new live concert video, you won't be wondering whether anybody will be interested. You'll know that you have an army of your fans who are eager and waiting for your new music to drop. You won't be afraid that nobody will ever find your music, and you don't have to be afraid that nobody will ever buy it. You'll know before you ever record the first note that you're on the right track. And you'll know beyond a doubt that your fans are going to buy your songs as soon as you put them on sale. That's a much different experience than most musicians have. Most musicians have to battle constant fear and doubt and uncertainty. When you're relying on luck to build your career, that's always going to be the case. When you don't control your own destiny, you're at everyone else's mercy. That's why they always tell you not to quit your day job. Because when you don't control your own future, you can get the rug pulled out from under you at any moment. But once you know how to create the kind of music that fans of your genre love, and once you know how to make a real connection with your audience, and once you know how to launch your music so that it makes a serious splash, and once you know how to earn 5 or 10 times as much money from all your live performances, your life becomes totally different. Suddenly, you're in the driver's seat. You don't have to suck up to anybody for any reason, for anything at all. When you know how to make great music and you have an army of fans that just keeps growing every day, you never have to worry about your career. You just get to do what you love. And you get this amazing feeling inside every time you check your sales numbers. And your fans write to tell you how much they love your new music. And suddenly, your day job may become totally optional. It really is a night and day difference. And it's not some pie in the sky dream. It's something that you can definitely create for yourself. You don't need anybody else's permission. You don't need to bow down to some record company. You just need to give yourself permission to go for it and then never look back. Now, the blueprint is very simple, but there are a lot of details to master. And it's easy to make mistakes that can cost you years of time and thousands of dollars. So we recognize the need for a course that you can enroll in to help you master the details without wasting your time and your money by trying to figure it all out by yourself. Now, there's no substitute for hard work, and you're going to have to provide your own horsepower. But the 6-figure musician training course will make sure you don't waste all that time and effort. The shortest distance between where you are right now and where you want to take your music career is a straight line. And the six-figure musician training course is the straight line that you'll want to follow. And today's the day when you decide if you're ready to join the thousands of other musicians and get on the straight line path toward earning a great income by making the music you love. Okay, there's a ton of information in the course, so let's get started. Here it is. I know lots of people are excited to get started, so let's dive right in. And I imagine that if you are still watching, you're most likely a musician who wants to increase your fan base, who wants to increase your income. Maybe you want to make a full-time career income by making your music. You probably care about artistic integrity, and you probably don't want to become a slimy salesperson. So good, you're in the right place. But fair warning, the course will only be open for enrollment for a very short time, just a few days, and then it won't be offered again at this price. So who can use this formula? Artists in any genre with a reasonably sized audience. If you make original music, if you make cover music, if you're a DJ, if you already have an existing catalog of music, or if you're just starting out, the formula can help you. And you might be saying, you started your music career, dude, a couple of years ago. Does this stuff apply right now? And the answer is absolutely. Better than ever, in fact. There are more and better tools today to make more and better music, and make more and better connections with fans, and there's never been a better time to be a musician. Lots of people want to know, how much time is this going to take? There is an upfront time investment to create a business system that adds fans to your army of fans. There is some ongoing upkeep, but it mostly works in the background once you get it set up, while you make more music. So again, the concept is very simple. We're going to create music that people love, and then we're going to create connections with fans and customers. And it sounds so simple, you might be wondering, dude, really does that work? Yes, absolutely. It doesn't work overnight. It's not automatic. It's not magic. It's not effortless. But these concepts are extremely powerful. I mean, it's how a really average guy built up a really nice music income, and a really nice book income, and another really nice income. And there was a fourth digital relationship business there too. That one brought in over $800,000 last year. Now, obviously, I can't guarantee your personal results. Those are totally up to you and up to your effort. But I know that this formula works. So I'm a guru, right? I'm some sort of mystical man on the mountain? No, not even close. I'm a really average guy, but what happened is I got a hold of a powerful concept, and I didn't quit. And so the question you're probably asking is, hey, could I do the same thing? And I think the answer is a resounding yes. But you do have alternatives to the six-figure musician training program. You could try to learn business in an MBA program. Spend $100,000, but you still won't learn how to market your music. Or you could go get an audio degree for $50,000. And that'll land you an unpaid intern position in some studio somewhere. And you'll still have to get a day job to pay off your mountain of debt. And guess what? That debt is going to stay with you forever until you pay it off. So, for my money and for my time, those were just not attractive options. You can also wander around YouTube, and there is very good information on YouTube, but how do you know what's bogus versus what's bankable? And how much time do you really have to do all your own research? And wouldn't you rather just be building your career instead of bouncing between videos online? Now, there are some gotchas, and you might be saying, hey, I've tried something like this before and it didn't work. You know what? Me too, 3 times. And then I took the time to learn how to do it right, and it worked 4 times in a row, really well. We don't have an alarm clock in our life now. It's pretty awesome. You might also be saying, why should I believe some guy that I've never heard of? Which is exactly my point. I'm not Taylor Swift and I'm not Ed Sheeran, but I did build a 6-figure music income, and you probably can too. You don't have to fill up Wembley Field or Mile High Stadium full of fans in order to make a great income. And here's another common misconception. Nobody buys music anymore because they can just stream it for free. Well, it's true that people do stream music for free, but they definitely still buy music too. In fact, Last year, indie musicians had over $6 billion in music sales. And here's the most important thing. When you make a real connection with fans, they're more than happy to buy from you. Remember these guys, you might be saying, you know what, it really can't be done without the help of a record label. And I say, remember 30 Seconds to Mars, a platinum record, a successful tour, and as congratulations for all of that, their label handed them a $2 million bill. They said, pay up. So with friends like that, who needs an enemy, right? You might be thinking, I'm not talented enough to build a successful career. But remember, talent is a bogus concept. There's only skill, and we're great at improving our skills. You've heard my music, Good, Bad, and Ugly, and you've heard how it got steadily better over time. You don't need to be perfect. It just has to come from your heart, and just keep improving. You might be saying the music artist is saturated with artists, and sort of. There really are millions of songs available for download, but here's the truth. 99.9% of musicians are doing absolutely nothing at all to build an audience of fans and customers. If you do something, you'll be in the top 0.1%. I'm dead serious. I have no idea why this hasn't really caught on. It's caught on in a ton of other industries, but for some reason, musicians haven't yet gotten started with this. So I imagine that a bunch of them are going to start figuring it out. In fact, that's one of the reasons we put this together. But if you do something, you'll be in the top 0.1%. And if your music and your performance are awesome, guess what? The sky really is the limit. You might be thinking, this is going to take a long time. And my answer is probably, but probably not as long as you might think. And you're going to be doing something for the next few years anyway, right? I mean, in 5 years, you'll still be here. You're going to have done something for those 5 years. Why not spend the time building an amazing music career for yourself? And remember, you'll see small results very quickly, and small results will grow into very big results. Some people think it won't work in your genre. It may be true, but only if your genre is very, very, very small. Otherwise, it's a big planet, and you'll be able to use the fundamentals to build a solid career. A lot of folks say, I don't have time to take a course. And you're probably right, you're probably just as busy as everybody else is. But if a music career is at all important to you, you don't have time to waste by spending years doing the wrong things. And the time investment for this course isn't that large, not even one semester of one easy junior college class. Lots of folks say, your situation was different than mine. And I say, it absolutely was. But remember, I didn't tour, I didn't gig, and I didn't make videos. And most of my music was created in hotel rooms. I mean, I basically had both hands tied behind my back. And the bottom line is, if this is something you want, you'll find a way. Which leads me to one of my favorite quotes ever by a guy named Jim Rohn. If it's something you really want, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. So my team and I took a long time to dissect the steps I took to generate nearly $150,000 in music sales in the first 3 years selling music online. We checked to make sure everything I did when I started out was still valid right now, like right at this minute. And we built the course around a few very basic fundamentals that you'll be able to put into practice right away. So we chose the modules for this course very carefully. We really wanted to give you everything you need to be successful. Okay, let's get into the course contents. You're going to set up marketing assets that work in the background while you make more music. And to do that, you will need some tools. And so in Module 1, we'll cover the tools that you need to build your marketing system and also to make your music. If you're aiming to produce your own music, and in my humble opinion, you definitely should, it's the fastest way possible to create a large catalog of extremely high quality music. You'll also need some tools for that. And we cover those tools in Module 1. Module 2 is about genre. Maybe you're making great music, but are you certain that it's right for your genre? And don't laugh, this is a lot harder than it sounds for most people. Module 2 is all about creating music that you know your fans will love. You'll master the one secret that the world's most successful music creators have in common. You'll be able to use this secret right now, immediately, to really accelerate your growth. All right, the world's most successful musicians create a large catalog of awesome music, and the fastest and most economical way for you to do that is to produce your own music. Don't worry, it's not nearly as hard as it sounds. It does take a bit of work, but you can totally do it. And Module 3 covers the fundamentals and the essentials. And if you're new to production, you'll start off on the right track. If you're experienced, this module will help you make sure that you haven't gotten off track. And then we need to talk about the business. There are a lot of misconceptions running around about music retailers and music distribution. It really is a confusing mess. So wouldn't it be nice to have a timeless strategy that you know will work right now and will also work 10 years from now? Well, you'll master that timeless strategy in Module 4. Remember, if you don't have an email list, you don't have a business. But if you don't know how to talk to your email list, you'll be out of business overnight. So Module 5 will help you master the two most important things in your career: growing your list and building your relationship with your list. You might be asking, what can those concepts do for me? Well, for one thing, early retirement. Growing my list and building my relationship with my list has given my wife and I the life we have always imagined. Right, most musicians throw their new music up on CD Baby and they pray. But that's silly. And it's a little heartbreaking too. You lose faith in yourself. You lose faith in your music. You make compromises, and the next thing you know, you're not even a musician anymore. That is heartbreaking. But now that you've mastered list growing in Module 5, Module 6 will help you master the millionaire making art, is what they call it, of launching your products to your list. You'll use the technique that has sold over $500 million in digital goods, and that number is growing by the day. All right, let's get live and in person. Till now, the course has been focused on the digital aspect of your music career, but Module 7 is all about how to perform your way to killer profits. So this is not my area of expertise, so I found an expert. It's a longtime industry pro. He's a producer, he's an artist manager, he's an entrepreneur, he's a trainer, and he's one of the original pirate radio DJs from back in the day. I think that's the coolest thing ever. His name is Paul K. Saunders. He'll help you master the most powerful live performance model available today. It's called fan-powered touring. And as a sneak peek, Paul teaches the techniques that you'll use to earn 2, 5, even 10 times more money for each live show. Now, performing on the small stage is an art. Intimate performances in small venues are worth big money. But performing in an intimate setting is definitely a skill all its own, and the better you are, the more money you will make. And Paul will help you master the small stage performance in Module 8. So you will make the most out of every gig. You'll earn more fans, you'll earn a bigger income, and more opportunities will come your way. Now there's some super fun stuff. Digital ninja magic. What if your fans' phones alerted them to new concert dates, tour dates, song releases, merch sales? How cool would it be if your fans did your marketing for you? Paul will teach you digital awesomeness in Module 9. And once you've mastered the basics, these varsity tools and techniques can really accelerate your growth. So, we built this course to help you replicate my journey from 0 to 6 figures, but faster and with fewer roadblocks and without any false starts. The fundamentals work, and the question is, can you make them work for you? Now, don't worry if it feels like this is a lot of information. Once you're enrolled in the course, there's no time limit. You can go through the modules as fast or as slow as you want to. And you can watch the lessons as many times as you want to. You'll have lifetime access to the course material. Okay, it's time to talk about the elephant in the room. And what's the elephant? It's this question: can this work for me? Remember, as you're thinking about that, the concept is simple. Just make great music and make real connections with real humans. And also remember, it's not about instant perfection. It's all about steady progress. And know this: if you're having fun, you're doing it right. Okay, here's what our musicians say about the 6-figure musician training course. 3 cheers, totally what I was looking for, exactly what I needed to get off the dime and start growing my fan base. Insightful, motivational, thank you. This is what I needed to hear. It's definitely time for me to narrow my focus. Fantastic info and inspiration for me moving forward. Very insightful and honest. Wow, I'm blown away. You make it all so clear and simple. Very cool to be able to go back and access the course materials anytime for refreshers. A great course, well worth investing in, and I like the all caps, hugely powerful stuff. Okay, most entrepreneurship courses like this one cost around $2,500. I've taken several of those courses. They were all excellent. It's no exaggeration to say that I would not be where I am right now, retired in my 40s, if I had not taken these courses. They really did get me to where I am right now. But we wanted to reach more musicians with the 6-figure musician training course. We wanted to give you everything you need to create amazing radio-ready songs, to create a lasting connection with your fans, to develop truly epic live performance skills, to build an army of fans and customers, to create a new life for yourself as a successful musician. And we wanted to take away the risk. So we do have a 30-day, no questions asked, money-back guarantee. Before we get to the registration link, and I know folks are anxious to get there, I want to talk about bonuses, though. The first bonus, have you ever wondered if your songwriting measures up? If you're just starting out, wouldn't it be great to have a songwriting primer to get you started in the right direction? And if you're a veteran songwriter, wouldn't it be awesome to have a bunch of new ideas for more inspiration? And wouldn't it be useful to know how the best songwriters in the business approach their craft? Well, you'll love bonus number 1. It's a Six-Figure Musician Songwriting Seminar. One of the most timeless idea starters to propel your songwriting forward is inside the seminar. You'll learn how the best songwriters in the world approach their craft, and you'll learn how you can do the same thing starting right now. Plus, there's a ton of examples to get your creative juices flowing. And we also added another bonus. Nothing kills a music career faster than a dispute over rights and royalties. This is a brutally complicated field. It's created by lawyers for the benefit of corporations, and it's super easy to get into trouble, maybe even get sued. So that's why we created bonus number 2, which is the Rights and Royalties course. Bonus number 2 demystifies the rights and royalties situation. It answers all the big questions. You'll be able to use the same strategy that the world's most successful musicians use to stay out of trouble and to make the absolute maximum amount of money from your music. Okay, here's how an investment like the Six-Figure Musician Training course works. Everybody knows that nothing valuable in life comes for free. Everybody knows that if you want to get someplace, you'll need to make an investment in yourself. The whole point of this course is to give you everything you need in order to make hundreds of thousands of dollars with your music. Obviously, you are responsible for your own results, but this is powerful stuff. It's completely changed my life. And you can use the tools that we're going to give you in the course to make twice or 5 times or 10 times or 1,000 times your investment. Now, the course registration, most courses like this, as I mentioned, cost $2,500. We wanted to reach more musicians. Your investment is just $997, or 6 payments of $197. And of course, you're covered by our 30-day, no questions asked guarantee. Okay, remember from the blueprint, we talked about our freaking amazing offer that we are going to offer our fans with our new music. And just as a reminder, a freaking amazing offer, you'll learn about how to create an offer that your fans and your customers will be really hard-pressed to refuse. It's called the FAO approach. It's how to motivate your fans to buy your music as soon as it's available with no procrastination. It's the way you'll deliver the kind of value that your fans and customers will absolutely love you for. And we want to practice what we preach. So we wanted to create a freaking amazing offer for you, so we included another bonus. It's an in-depth case study of one of Europe's most successful indie musicians. This guy has over 40 million YouTube views on some of his videos, over 100 million YouTube views in total, and multiple 6 figures every year. So this bonus is called Learn from Leo. Actually, it's pronounced Leo Moracchioli. Learn how Leo is standing on the shoulders of giants to reach millions of fans. Copy Leo's up-to-the-minute strategy with one of the most innovative cash flow methods. You can discover how to avoid the deadliest sin in today's music business, and you can discover the power of being what's called a genre genie. More Learn from Leo. You can leverage like Leo, how to turn your musical and production skills into a steady stream of income, how you can use Leo's secret weapon to your advantage for a bigger fan base and a much bigger income. And we added another bonus. This is the most valuable bonus of all of them. It's designed to take both your music and your marketing skills to the next level. The whole point of the course, again, is to set you on the path to making great money with your music. So we're taking a hands-on approach. Free consulting from seasoned pros and veteran producers, songwriters, and artists. Get personalized help, expert help to improve your music platform, to improve your songs, improve your landing page, improve your email copy, improve your videos. By the way, this kind of service costs $10,000 and up. It's out of reach for most people starting out. It's free with your investment in the six-figure musician training course. So, summing up, we want to give you the essential tools plus pro tips and timeless strategies to create your own six-figure music empire, plus 4 giant bonuses, all designed to show you the straight line path to a successful music career. But time is short. Enrollment will close very soon. So here's how to enroll. Scroll down right now and click on the registration link. Choose your payment plan, enter your information, and congratulations, you're in. You'll have immediate access to everything in the course from now until the end of time, so you can go at your own pace. Now, I know that an investment like this can seem risky, but you'll be able to see 100% of the course materials for 30 whole days. And if it's not a good fit, there's a 30-day, no questions asked, money-back guarantee. Now, there's another kind of risk that you need to be aware of. And years ago, when I was getting serious about my career, I was wrestling with the decision to invest in a course like this one. I was a little bit nervous about the money, a little bit nervous about the time commitment, but I heard something that stuck with me. It's something called the risk of inaction. It goes like this. You need to ask yourself, how much money, success, and fulfillment will you miss out on by not going after your goals? In other words, if you want more and better results, you have to take more and better action. Now, there are no guarantees in life, but one thing is pretty clear. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. Everybody knows that, right? But if you don't make a change, it's pretty certain that your life won't be any better tomorrow than it was today. So, is now your time? If so, scroll down, click the button, join us inside the six-figure musician training program. One last thing. I'm not some kind of guru. I have no mystical powers. I've achieved financial independence through digital relationship businesses because I learned how they work. I know it works, and I'm eager to share what I've learned to help you achieve your financial and musical goals. When the slots fill up, and they tend to fill up quickly, registration will close, period, no exceptions, and the course will never again be offered at this price. Now, whether you choose to take the free training and make a go of it, or whether you choose to go further with the six-figure musician training program, I want you to make the right decision for yourself. But you'll need to make your decision fairly soon. Unfortunately, there just isn't a whole lot of time. But ask yourself, is there any other investment available anywhere else in the world for any amount of money that would give you the tools and the skills to make a great living by making amazing music? Is there any other investment you could make that has the power to take you from where you are right now to where you want to go in your life as a musical entrepreneur? If so, I haven't found it, and that's why I put all the time and effort to build it from scratch for my own selfish reasons. I believe the world needs your music, and it gives me great joy to help people become successful at something they love doing. So if now is your time, if you're ready to step up and take control of your musical and financial future, I invite you to scroll down and enroll in the course. I'm Steve Piper. I'm the founder of the Six-Figure Musician Training Program. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the inside.